mother-in-law is manipulative, so we started recording every interaction.
I think, okay.
For context, my 20 female boyfriend, 20 male, let's call him Adam, and I have been together for a few years, and from the start, his mother, Karen, 52 female, made subtle remarks about how he could have done better.
Oh.
By the way, this comes from Dry Yellow 1866, and if you want to submit your own story, just go to r/OK Storytime subreddit.
I knew it was going to be bad when her name was Karen.
She's ultra religious and expects her children to follow a perfect traditional path, school, university, a real job, and complete obedience. Since we don't fit her mold, every little thing we do is labeled as disrespectful, even when we're just having honest, normal conversations. Adam's brother, John, 33 male, still lives with her and gets away with everything. She only steps in when his behavior is so bad that it's unavoidable. And even then, only if we're around to see it. But if he refuses to help with something, she yells at Adam to do it instead, if she did not tell him to do it originally, which is most of the time, even if he's busy. If she's in a bad mood, she gives him the silent treatment. If he tries to talk about his feelings, she accuses him of holding on to grudges and that he should let go of the past. So when we were 17, I moved in with them because my home was very toxic. I only shared part of what happened, not all, because I was afraid she would call the authorities on my parents. Oh, wow. She said she understood. From the get-go, I noticed Adam is not allowed to have his own privacy at all because that means he is hiding things from her according to her. She treats Adam like he's her partner.
Oh, no.
She's completely codependent on him and expects him to drop everything for her.
That's called enmeshment.
Yeah, we learned that one. If he's busy working, spending time with me, or caring for our daughter, 2 female, she gets mad and says, I'm never allowed to ask you for anything. But at the same time, she treats him horribly. She constantly criticizes him, insults him, and disrespects him, yet expects him to be at her beck and call. Fast forward a year and we have our daughter, and she is the love of our life. Karen suspected I was pregnant. We did not know I was, and said she hopes it's not too late to do something about it, to not have the baby.
I thought she was ultra religious.
Yeah.
I'm sensing some discrepancy.
When I gave birth, Karen stood by the door and watched me give birth. When I came out, I was distraught, as it had been a very complicated birth. And our daughter was premature, so we didn't get to see her as she was rushed to the ICU. I was shaking the whole time.
Yeah.
We went to the maternity ward, and I didn't even get out of the wheelchair or lie down before she yelled at us, saying we messed up and better step up.
What?
Valid, we should, and I'm proud that we did. She then proceeded to pray for us while I was still bleeding everywhere.
Oh, no.
When she took Adam and John to town to get things for our baby, they were the only ones allowed to pick anything out for her. Adam wasn't allowed to pick anything except for one beanie. Maybe that was fair since it was their money, but they were rude to him the whole time they were there and dismissed him completely. Back to almost the present, she gets angry at us for setting boundaries for our daughter. Yep. If Adam tries to calmly talk to her, she says we're making trouble, and the famous statement, "Do not start with me," comes out. It doesn't stop there. When our daughter is sleeping, she deliberately yells just to prove a point, even though we've asked her to be quiet. When Adam hands over our daughter to her so they can spend time together, she picks a fight. We have a strict rule, no yelling or disrespectful conversations in front of our daughter because it stresses her out and she will think that is normal. Her parents' criticisms are relentless. She claims we are raising our daughter to look poor because she sometimes plays shirtless in the shade during summer or spring. Yet she expects us to wrap her in a blanket indoors in 37 degrees Celsius, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit heat. When we refuse, she snapped, "Don't start with me," and still does it, even though we've explained that our daughter gets hot very quickly and does not like being covered in layers, seeing as she was born in the middle of winter and has hated it ever since. She punts herself open and sweats profusely, even in winter, but we do cover her when it's cold. The situation escalated when she, along with my father, who I'm now no contact with because of years of trauma, and this one instance being over the line, conspired to take our daughter away.
What?
My father told her that they were people trying to take the baby away from her as a grandmother and urged her to seize full control over our daughter.
What?
He only did it because he was fighting with my mom and wanted to cause her stress. Sounds familiar? Karen took this as a mandate, even making threats that if we didn't do as she demanded, she'd take action. This is when we started recording every conversation for our protection and for our daughters. Listening back has made it painfully clear how much she twists words, gaslights, and manipulates every situation to fit her narrative. And yes, she's furious that we record her, but the fact that we even need to record speaks volume. She's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I never said that. And they're like, no, we have proof. And she's like, how dare you?
I love the image of her just like freaking out in every scenario, and they're just like.
It gets even worse. A few months ago, during one of her rants, she reminded him that this wasn't the first time he'd chosen some girl over his mother. When Adam was 14.
Crazy.
Seems entirely irrelevant. He wanted to stay with a girlfriend for a week because things got so bad that he could not stay at home anymore. But he was forced to stay and locked outside of the house for a week, not allowed to leave. When I confronted her a few days ago about what she said, explaining that I'm not just some girl, but his partner and the mother of his child, she claimed I was taking her words out of context. There wasn't much context to salvage. She said what she said, and now she's furious that I overheard it. Fast forward a couple weeks ago, Adam decided to go to the army, but came back because of personal reasons. His mother did not like that he decided to come back at all.
You were going to go to the army and leave your partner and child with your mother?
His mother did not like that he decided to come back at all. From the moment we picked him up, she didn't even look in his direction and refused to speak to him unless she wanted something done or wanted to ask him if he found a real job yet. According to her, it was because it was peaceful without him there.
Jeez.
But it was peaceful because I couldn't object to anything John or Karen did because I was too scared that it would be me against the two of them, and I have my daughter to protect. Now Karen is not letting go of the real job thing. For instance, she was holding our daughter, and only when she was sure I was asleep in the other room, I was sick, did she try to pick a fight with Adam about our jobs. He told her she couldn't yell while holding our daughter, and if she wanted to have a respectful conversation, they could do it later. She got so mad, she handed our daughter over to John, a guy we're uncomfortable with due to his aggressive, short-tempered nature. And because John even comments on her timeouts, which we actually take for her to calm down while we sit with her and explain why she couldn't do what she did, speaking calmly to her and breaking generational trauma. John likes to point out that she's just 1 year old and it won't work, and we just don't want to make the effort. When Adam tried to reclaim our daughter from John, who was in the kitchen around the corner, Karen physically blocked the doorway and tried to push him away.
Wow.
He had to push past her, then John held her for a minute or two with his back to Adam, even though Adam kept asking for her and then handed her back. Then when Adam took our daughter for a walk outside, Karen followed him around the entire house twice. The moment our daughter saw her, she yelled from around the corner something like, "I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to be with you right now," trying to make it seem as if Adam was keeping our daughter away from her, even though just minutes before, she was the one keeping him from his child. She even whispers outright lies to our daughter, petty manipulations meant to distort her perception, to a 2-year-old.
You need to get out of there like ASAP.
We moved on to another section of our very small business, and it is struggling to bring in money. However, we still contribute to the house the way we should. We created a backup buddy to raise funds for the business, which is a recycling business, and we plan to sell things we made for that cause. But Karen is still not happy that we do not have real jobs. So we decided to buy our own things for the house since we're not allowed to use their stuff anymore. Now Karen wants us to use our stuff for everyone, but none of theirs to make things for everyone. Meanwhile, we only have enough for ourselves, and they make 10 times more money than us. She doesn't like that we buy our own things now and have an opportunity to work from home for a little while, so she tries to pick fights with everything we do. When we don't engage, she says Adam is turning his back on her and his family. A few days ago, we had a big fight, and whenever we made valid points, she said we were being disrespectful. Meanwhile, she was yelling at us and interrupting us, and we stayed calm, keeping our cool and explaining how we feel about things. She went as far as to say that I do not have enough experience to be a good mom to our daughter, even though it's been 2 years. Yet she has to respect our boundaries and has gotten better at it, but she's still not good enough for us, apparently. I nearly asked her, so why can you take more than 2 years to learn basic boundaries, but I have to know how to be a perfect mother at 2 months?
Oof.
Because apparently she had to be one because she had to go back to her real job. She loves to bring up the fact that I will never be a good mother like she is because she had it harder than me and did it on her own.
Oh my God.
But she forgets that she's allowed people in her life to abuse Adam and actually joined in sometimes.
Oh my.
When I told her that she is not doing right by Adam by not listening to him when he is talking to her about how he feels, she said, "Aw, shame. How will he ever live?" in a sarcastic tone. My boyfriend told me we should just leave because it is useless talking to her when she closes herself off to anything, and the conversation goes in circles. She constantly tells us we're disrespectful, yet she insults, manipulates, and fights with us at every turn. If Adam tries to have a rational conversation, she either twists our words, changes the subject, or sarcastically says, "Oh, so now I'm just the worst mother ever."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's when you say,
Mhm.
yes.
Yes.
You're terrible.
You
I hate
got it
you.
right. You are not a good mother.
There's no winning. Now she's saying he does not care about her and tries to send him messages saying that we are not contributing. But she got mad when we did. She's also mad that we are more independent than before. She even asked for our daughter's birth certificate and then said it's because she will be the only one to inherit anything from her. Don't give her the birth certificate. We refused to give it to her because we do not trust her with it, and she got mad. She then took the gift we got her for her birthday and put it on our bed. Adam set it gently at her door because he is not allowed to go into her room. We gifted it to her, and we are not the type of people to take gifts back, even though that is what she has done. She then punted the box and the gift away from her door and expected us to pick it up. Now, he bought her a dishwasher when he was younger with his inheritance money from his grandmother to make it easier for her because she has a medical condition that makes it hard for her to do certain things. He does not want to take it back, but if she is going to give it back, we are going to take it. This morning, she sent him a prayer message after she picked a fight over us not being comfortable driving with her to another town after everything. He said, "Does it not make you realize how wrong this is if I have to record everything for me and my family's safety?" She then proceeded to say that God would reveal the truth to him and set him free because he has the Ahab and Jezebel spirit in his life. For those unfamiliar, this essentially means she believes I am a manipulative, deceitful woman leading him into sin, Jezebel,
Damn.
while he is weak and passive for allowing it, Ahab. Now, I have apologized to him and her if I ever tried to control the situation, but it was hard for me to accept that Adam gets yelled at for everything and he just has to take it. Otherwise, he will get a punishment. But now that we have a child, I will not back down when things get out of hand.
What's your punishment?
I don't know.
You're
Yeah,
a
I'm like,
20-year-old. You're an adult with a child.
20 with
You're
a child.
grounded.
Spanking.
But one thing she needs to understand is that Adam is not weak and not passive anymore.
You say it.
He let the things she did go because it was easier than trying to defend himself. But now he is more adamant with his boundaries and ours. By the way, I'm adamant that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. Are we just being spoiled and unreasonable? Even in that
No.
first thing, it's like OP is being gaslit so hard
Yeah.
that she thinks that this terrible behavior is normal.
Yeah.
It feels like we cannot have any say in anything because they have helped us a lot with finances and our daughter. And she let us stay in her house even when we got pregnant. And she says we're lucky she didn't punt us out. It just feels like she's so good at distorting reality and everything that happens. And she does not allow us to have any boundaries with our daughter or for ourselves. And everyone in our lives are telling us that she's trying to make it harder for us. Maybe we are just being dramatic, but we need a second opinion or a bunch. Are we the a-holes? And that is the end of the story.